Guys, this is what we are doing today. I did this winterization walkthrough several years ago. It's still accurate. I'm just going to do a voiceover of it today because YouTube, I'd put some music in the background because back then I was a rookie, and I thought that was what everybody was doing. And honestly, I've gotten a lot of negative feedback about the music anyway, so I'm just going to do a voiceover of the actual video so I don't have to redo the entire video, which would probably be better anyway. There won't be any music, and then I don't have to worry about any copyright infractions or segments of the video's audio being cut out for anything along those lines. So right here, I'm just introducing myself. My company name is actually not the same company name as it was then. Been a long time since I watched the original video, so I'm sure I'm talking about something that's really not necessary. Here's a pretty cool intro that I created back when I knew how to create intros. I've been trying to do it again. So right here we're going over everything you need, which is a pressure gauge. I made that pressure gauge right there. I got a video on here about me making it on this channel. That air hose, still actually using an air hose. Got it from Harbor Freight. It was a good one. Milwaukee shop vac. Those are a must-have. There was a time where I had to do this without shop vacs, and it was an absolute struggle. Air compressor. So, look, get a lot of feedback right here. People, yada, 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 on and on about air compressors, this, that, and the other. Look, use what you have. The bigger your air compressor, the better it is. The easier it makes your life. But if you're a patient individual and you're just getting started and you don't have a tremendous amount of funds, or maybe you don't have or can't afford anything more than that $59 Harbor Freight pancake air compressor, then by all means you can get it and you can make it happen. So it will build pressure. I mean, we're looking to build 35 PSI, so it's not like you're having to pump a whole ton into it. It just takes a little bit more time. And it makes draining the hot water heater a little bit slower. So it can be done with those pancake compressors. If you've got a bigger compressor, if you have the money to go get one, most certainly it does help. RV antifreeze, you get that at AutoZone. Winterization tape. Look, the winterization tape, I love it, okay? I get it from U.S. Hardware and Supply. It's the quickest, easiest thing that I've found. A lot of these companies want you to use their postings, but I know for NFR, Brookstone, Guardian, MCS, pretty much everybody with the exception of Safeguard, that winterization tape is perfectly fine to use, and it's extremely cheap and works great. And then right here I'm going over this water hose, and that water hose I still use. We found it doing a debris removal. I've had many people ask me about that water hose. It's a kinkless water hose, but it's not the elastic kind like what you find now. That is the best water hose I have ever used, ever. I don't let anybody touch that water hose. So if you can find a water hose like that one, definitely hold on to it because it is gold. Just an overview, everything you need. Now we're rolling right into the very first thing I always do, and still do this. We actually filmed this video down around Fort Rucker, which is what all these choppers are doing right here. But at some point, we're going to stop looking at helicopters and get on down here. Boom, there he is. All right, first thing, you go out, you get to the water meter, you're going to turn your water off, and you're going to put your zip tie on. I make this my very, very first step because in my opinion, especially when I was just getting going, I would be halfway through my winterization, realize I didn't, they're normally off. The water's normally off anyway, but, and because the water is normally off, forgetting to zip tie this water meter and getting this picture right here is something that I've done a little bit of. So now I just make sure that it's the very first thing I do. So when I'm starting my winterization, I go out here, I make sure it's off, I zip tie it. And that is my very first winterization picture. And I am a little envious. I think I was probably about 10 pounds lighter back then. But check it out. So right here, what we do is we go in, and this is the most optimal in my opinion. It is not an absolute requirement that you hook it up to the washer hookups, but it's the very first thing that I go to. There's a lot of people that when they get to this point, they have different opinions on different ways, and they say that you need to hook the air hose into both. I normally put it into the hot. That is just my preference. I do not think it matters, because as the air is circulating through a closed system, it will push all of the water out. I've not ever had any issues doing it any other way, so that's what I'm doing right here. That's what I'm going over. This is me hooking up my pressure gauge and preparing to put air to the system so that I can either do the pressure test first or quickly drain the hot water heater, whichever I prefer. We're going to drain the hot water heater first. So, still using that same pressure gauge, actually. It's pretty beat up now. Still works like a gem, though. So, we've got air on the system. So now what we're going to do is we're going to walk around all of the faucets in the house, and we're going to turn the water on. And we're going to make sure that while we've got air to the system, that we blow out all of the faucets. Because remember, the goal here is so that there's no water in any of the water lines in the house. So you want to go around while you've got air to the system and open up all of your faucets so that any remaining water will come out and go down the drain. Once you have everything emptied, at that point, and there's no longer any water coming out and it's just air, that's when you're going to turn all of your shutoff valves below your faucets off. Right here, what I'm going over, and still to this day, if I were to mess up a winterization, it would be this right here. For whatever reason, in my very simple mind, these dishwashers are the easiest things to overlook, and I don't know if it's just because I've got so much going on, or because I've got ADD, or maybe, whatever. It could be a culmination of the two. But very easy to miss. So while I'm doing this and I'm walking around, as soon as I I see the dishwasher, I walk over there and I open it. And the reason I do that is because once it's open, and you're having to constantly walk around the open door, it's just a reminder that you have to do the dishwasher, because the dishwasher requires antifreeze as well. So that's what I'm going over here. Open the dishwasher door so you don't forget to do the dishwasher. I couldn't have found a better house to do this video in. I mean, this house was immaculate. Actually got rid of the goatee the other day. My wife's not happy about that. I do remember this day, it was about 110 degrees down there, though. This is in South Alabama. So now we're getting over here to the water heater. So we've got all of our lines, faucets emptied, everything, all the air out of the lines. And so we're going to use the compressor to drain the hot water heater. If you don't use the compressor to drain the hot water heater, it takes forever to drain the hot water heater. So in a lot of the comments you see about the compressor, like what we were talking about earlier, the bigger your compressor, the easier it makes this step right here. It just can really, really speed it up. But regardless, if you're a patient individual and you've got lots of stuff to do, to me, it was never that big of a deal, because as the water heater was draining, I could run around and do bids and all that type of stuff. So like I said, the size of your compressor, makes things a little bit easier, but it is not a game changer, and it doesn't mean that you can't go do one if all you have is a small compressor. So we're going over this step right here, because look, before I do pressure test, I like to empty the water heater, because I like to do a pressure test including the water heater, because a lot of the times these water heaters are up under the house in crawl spaces, and back in the day when they didn't require a pan, they're sitting on the ground and the bottom of them are rusted out. So I like to test the water heater as well. I want to make sure there's no issues with the water heater, because if there is, then I need to bid to replace it so that the liability of it doesn't come back on me. So right here, we're just going over draining the water heater. And that's what we are doing. And that was a brand new water heater. I mean, even to this has been 4 years ago, and I still don't think I've come to a cleaner house than this one. So right here, we're going over cleaning the toilets. You know, I think pretty much anybody can clean a toilet. Shop vacs most certainly make it easier, but the water has got to be out of both the bowl and the tank. And I mean, it's got to be clean, so there can't be any kind of dirt, feces, anything in there. There can't be any water left in there, and it has to be completely dry, and you're going to have to take a picture of it completely dry. One of the things that I'm going to talk about right here in this video that is very, very important, I know I use Proven, and I have my setting in there so that my flashlight is always on, so that I don't have to, when I'm going, because we take so many pictures, I don't like to hit the take a picture button and have to wait the half a second for it to flash and take the picture. I like it to just be already illuminated, and then I hit the button and it's instant. When I put my camera over the top of the toilet to take my after picture showing that the toilet's completely clean and there's no water in it, because the bottom of the bowl is porcelain, it's so shiny with that light hitting it, when you take the picture every single time, it makes it look like there's water in that bowl when there's not. But when all you have is that picture to prove that there's no water in there, and in that picture it looks like there's water in there, a couple of times I've had to go back out there and redo something that was done right the first time. So what I have learned to do is I'll just, during this one picture, I'll take my finger and I'll put it over the flashlight on my phone and then take the picture, and it does away with that reflection off the bottom of the tank. But I said all that to say this: when you're doing this step right here, you definitely want it clean. You definitely don't want any water, and you want to get a good picture depicting that. So I probably shouldn't have paused the video, because now I think I'm explaining all of that very same stuff. But that shop vac, that actual shop vac, just broke about a month ago. Those are some pretty good shop vacs, I'm going to tell you right now. All of the Milwaukee M18 stuff is good. And do the tank first before you do the bowl. Because if you do the bowl first, then when you're in there cleaning the tank and you accidentally bump that flapper, it's going to let some water back down into the bowl. So do the tank first, then do the bowl. So, you know, now I've got it completely empty. Now I'm taking a rag and just making sure that there's not any remaining water droplets in there. So I'll just run that rag and dab it around in the bottom of the bowl as well as the bottom of the tank. And then that's what's going to give it that just really, really bone dry look, which is, like I said, what I always go for. Tank. I must have misspoke right there, which I'm not surprised. I've got a habit of misspeaking. See, right here, if you'll see, I take my finger, I cover up the flash, and, you know, that's exactly why. So now we're back here, and we're back to the pouring the antifreeze into all the P-traps. So real quick, we'll do an overview here. The reason that you're putting antifreeze in here is because you have, and I went over this in one of my videos, but you know, you have a P-trap that's kind of like this. So you constantly have water in the actual trap of the P-trap. What you're doing is you're taking and you're putting antifreeze in with that water so that the water that sits in the bottom of that P-trap doesn't freeze. That's the whole mission here. That's what we're doing. So everywhere that there's a P-trap is going to get antifreeze, as well as the toilets. So that's what we're going over here. The RV antifreeze, you can get it at AutoZone. You can bulk order it. I actually seen where you can get a 55-gallon barrel of it with a hand pump off of Amazon that I have talked about for 2 years doing it, and it would probably save me, there's no telling how much money, because during the winter the stuff goes up to, you know, as much as $8 a gallon. But generally, 1 gallon will do your standard house. So 2 bathrooms, kitchen, you know, dishwasher, you know, a gallon. In fact, you'll have a little bit left over. You could probably do a 3 bathroom or you can do a 3-bathroom. There's enough antifreeze to do a 3-bathroom sink. Dishwasher. Don't forget the washer drain. There's a P-trap there as well. Don't forget it. You'll need to put a winterization post in there as well. Don't forget the dishwasher, which is when I said we always open the lid. I think that's probably what I'm going over right here. Now we're going back. So I'm going over right here the amount of antifreeze that I put in the toilets. So the gist of it is right here in the bowl, I try to bring the antifreeze up to the bottom of, the horizontal hole. So right to the bottom, or right to the bottom of the top of the horizontal hole. I mean, you can see right here. So it's you're not pouring so much in there that it's completely full, but you're pouring enough in there so that it won't evaporate in about 2 months and be gone. And then, that's what I'm going over there. I did not pre-watch this video, and it's been a long time since I've done this. My winterization process has not changed any. I mean, because I pretty much can tell you what I'm talking about in each one of these steps, and I hadn't watched this video in years. So in the tank, what I normally do in the tank is I want the bottom of the tank to have a good layer of antifreeze. A lot of them have these little ridges in there. So I'll try to bring it up even with those ridges, maybe slightly below those ridges. But the thing is if the tank isn't sitting in there and it's not perfectly level, then your antifreeze is going to go to one side, and that's kind of aggravating because then you end up using a lot more antifreeze than you normally would. Just because I don't like to see that. I like to see it pink across the whole bottom of the tank. And so that's what I'm going over here. But, if they are level, then you can put it in there to where it's perfectly flush, kind of up to where it's pretty much level with those ridges. It would not let me download this video in 1080. Made me do it in 720. Right here, we're going over the toilet wrap. Here's the thing. Toilet wrap. When you're putting this toilet wrap on there, do not cover the entire hole. If you do, when you come back, your antifreeze will have soured. It's going to smell soured, and it's probably going to have some mold floating on the top. Leave the top. So on the top of the bowl, the furthest part away from you, leave a gap right there for air to get in. Because if you don't, it will mold, and it will mold quickly. So that's what I'm going over here. That roll of shrink wrap I found in a debris removal like my first year in here, and I've done, there's no telling how many winterizations. In about a month ago, I finally used up all of that shrink wrap. And that was some really, really good shrink wrap. The shrink wrap I'm using now, not a huge fan of it. Wished I could find some more shrink wrap just like that, but like I said, we found it, so I have no idea where it came from. And I'm putting the winterization tape on here. Look, some of your companies require for you to put a date on each winterization posting. VRM, Safeguard, those companies like that. Most of them do not, so the only one that I'll put a date on is the one that I put on the back door. And honestly, you could probably get away with not even putting a date on it, but I do it so that I know when I've done that winterization every time I go to that house. So we put in the winterization postings here. You'll get a winterization posting on your toilets, your dishwasher, your kitchen sink, your bathroom sinks, your showers, water heater, breaker box, secondary door, washer, drain, bathtubs. That's what we're going over here. And that's why I really like that tape. That tape's relatively easy to get off, and to me it just looks so much more professional than a bunch of blue painter's tape or a lot of them other postings that they try to get you to use. So when I do a winterization and you come in behind me, I like for it to look good, to be tidy, professional looking. I see a lot of these winterizations. I think that's probably what I'm going over here right here. That absolutely, look horrible, and I just don't like for mine to look horrible. I try to do everything, like I said, and keep it tidy and looking good. You know what's funny? This was one of the first videos I ever did, and I remember being nervous. It takes a long time to like learn to be able to talk to a camera, because like you're all by yourself, and it's hard to just talk out loud to an object. You know, it's easy to communicate with somebody else, but it's not nearly as easy to communicate to an object. You just kind of feel odd. So we're going over there, the door posting. There was the posting on the dishwasher, the sink. So what we're doing is we're running through everything right here and showing everywhere that I put a posting. So we're going in the laundry room. You'll see we put the posting right above the washer hookups, and this washer drain right here is going to get some antifreeze, and that's where you know you're going to take pictures of you pouring antifreeze in all of the drains. There's the breaker box. It gets winterization posted. Make sure that you've got the breaker to the hot water heater off. Other thing, real quick, if it's a gas hot water heater and the gas is still on, make sure you turn the pilot light off before you empty it. So your sinks get a posting, toilets get posting, everything looks tidied up, looking good. We got a posting on the bathtub. When you take the lid off of the toilet tank, don't break them. We've broke a few and had to replace them, and you know, I've broke a few and had to replace them. So here we're going into the other bathroom. There's the bathtub. There is both of your husband and wife sinks. The shower, I see a lot of people putting them on the door. I'm not a huge fan of putting them on the door. I always try to put them right there. And then I kind of hold my phone sideways a little bit so that you get a picture of, you know, the shower top, the bottom of the posting on there. But here is my toilet wrapped and posted. Got antifreeze in it. Looking good. Should stroll on out here now and get the hot water heater. I think that's all that is left. And yeah, that's it. That is the winterization video. If you are in this industry, this is one of the very first things that's going to be expected of you. And a lot of people, and I know this because I've brought on people and hired people, and I've got contractors who work for me. This is like one of the most intimidating things for anybody who's just getting in this. But understand, it is a super easy thing to do. And like once you do 10 or 15 of them, like it is muscle memory. I could go do a winterization, I'm sure, with if I knew my way around the house, I could do it blindfolded. Because I've just done so many of them. You guys will do so many of them. There's no reason to be nervous about any of this or to feel intimidated. If this is something you're concerned with, just watch this video. I have a Discord with quite a few members in it now. It's an open chat of communication. It's for positivity only, for people who are either successful in this industry or want to be successful in this industry. If you are a has-been and all you want to do is talk about how great it was in 2008 and how awful it is now, that's not going to be the place for you. But if you want to get in this Discord, you want to be surrounded by like-minded people, learn, share your input, some of the things that you've learned so that maybe we can get better, you know, from something that maybe you're doing better than us. If you have questions, there's no such thing as a stupid question, and it's open to anyone. That is what it's for. I will post a link in the description. I don't think YouTube's going to have an issue with this voiceover of my original winterization walkthrough, so I hope for everybody who has had to watch the video since the audio was cut out right in the middle that this helps. Like I said, I do apologize about that. I was a rookie back then, really didn't know what was going on. Still don't know what was going on. Probably know less about YouTube now than I did then, to be honest with you. But regardless, hopefully these videos is helping. I hope you guys take care. I hope y'all had a wonderful holiday. I hope you had a great opening first few days of the month of the brand new year. Take care. See ya.